All right, my name is Corey McKendry, and I read the book How to Win at the Sport of Business by Mark Cuban. So, a lot of us know Mark Cuban as the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He's on Shark Tank. Okay, he makes a lot of money, he's very successful. This book is basically a story of how he got to where he got. And I really like this book just because it was different than any other book that I actually have read before because it wasn't in like a chapter format or, a traditional book that we're all used to reading. It was like mini blogs slash lessons slash stories that he really uh, experienced in his life that he's taken lessons and he's gained stuff from and he's sharing to us in little segments. So that's why I like this book a lot just because it was really easy to read and there was not a lot of fluff. Everything that he put in the book was something I could really use and take for myself for the future. So in this book, I covered four. I took four lessons from this. Four lessons I learned from the book. As you can see here, I made a chart of the four different things I mainly took away from it, and I'm going to go over each individual one uh, in detail. So, the first one that I really learned and took from the book was Mark Cuban's two business rules. Okay, so rule number one: always ask yourself how someone could preempt your product or service, and how can they put you out of business. Okay, so what makes your product different? What's going to make a consumer choose your product other than your competition's, and how could your competition eventually down the line put you out of business? So is it the price? Is it the product itself? Is it the ease of use? You got to think that before you even start your business. Okay, you don't want a 2 to 4 year business and then you go bankrupt and it was a one hit wonder. You want to have something that can give you longevity and success for decades and decades. So really think about your competition before you think about actually creating your own service. Okay, so how are you going to be different? How can you get popularity and space from the competition? Rule number two: always run your business like you're going to be competing with the biggest companies in your industry. So this goes for when you're starting a business. Nobody starts their business thinking, okay, I want to start a business, spend a lot of money on it, be successful for a year, and then get beat out by the big name brands. Okay, so you got to think that you're competing with the top of the top. You really have to consider what it takes to make a successful business and earns you longevity. So the big companies, they've been doing it for a while. Okay, they have a lot of credibility, they have a ton of money, they have a lot of popularity. Okay, so how do you compete with them? Make your product and your services unique enough that it compete the big dogs and still stand out. That would really prevent you from having either not ever taking off, or once you do take off, a quick fall. So that'll really help you prevent that. The next lesson I really learned from this book was about having an edge. So Mark Cuban talks about all the different edges that he had and how it really made him a successful entrepreneur and what it really meant to him. So some of the edges, he listed about 20 to 25 in the book, but these are the ones that really stuck out to me that I feel like I could really apply to myself. So it's whether or not you have an edge or the guts to use it. So in my opinion, everybody has an edge, okay? Everybody has a little something, a little passion about them, or a little grit that really could push them over the top. So it's about using it, okay? Not being scared. Don't be embarrassed of your edge because everybody has the edge. Everybody's just different. So don't be scared. Don't be embarrassed. Really find your guts. Find something you're passionate about, and really go for it. Okay. The next thing is edge is being so passionate about what you're doing that a whole 24 hours goes by and it feels like 3 hours. So while I was reading the book, Mark Cuban said that he was starting up a small software company and he would just read information and try to get as smart as he can and get ahead of his competition like that. He would read and work and try to develop new softwares here and try to figure out how to fix his business in this aspect. And he would look at the clock and it would be 18 hours went by and he forgot to eat. He forgot to call his girlfriend back, or he'd forget to do something very important just because he was so passionate about it. So this one's all about your edge turning into passion, and it's really hard to go wrong if you're passionate about something. It might not work out, but at least you're giving your all. The next thing is edge is knowing that you can fail and learn from it. Now, this is pretty cliche, turn failure into a lesson, but after reading the story that Mark Cuban presented about where he started and where he ended, he had a lot of failures. And it would have been easy for him just to quit or just to, go get a regular business, sales job, marketing, whatever it takes. But he learned from his failures, he improved. He also learned from other people's failures. That's something he mentioned as well. Not just your failures. Be aware in the industry and see what's going on in certain trends and learn from others. That's probably the best failure you can learn from is, not your own personal one. You're not taking any hits from it, but you still learn from it. So use your edge to be aware of the industry and turn failures into lessons. Okay. The last edge that I'm going to talk about is the edge of being able to blow off steam and just to refocus on your business. So previously I said, be so passionate that you can work for 24 hours straight and feel like 3 hours. Well, it's also important that you don't work for 24 hours straight or 48 hours straight because you'll burn out. I mean, we're all human. No matter how passionate about something you are, eventually you're going to run out of steam. You're going to lose passion. You'll get bored, and your work begins to decrease because you honestly, your brain's not there. So use your edge in a different way. Find something you like, whether it's playing basketball, maybe it's working out, crocheting, reading a book, whatever, cooking. Find something, okay, let you blow off steam and just refocus on your business. This will give you the edge over all the competitors that are trying to go 48 hours straight. Time against money. I'm trying to, I'm trying to get money. I can't waste any time. This is your edge by blowing off steam, because I guarantee if you put in 100% of your effort, 85% of the time, that work is going to be better than your competition doing 100% work, no stopping. Okay, the quality will continue to increase. All right, so the next thing I'll be covering is 12 Cuban mantras for success. So there are 12, so I'm going to cover, 3 or 4 of my favorites. So number 1, time is more valuable than money. This is one of my favorites because basically you have to learn how to use time wisely and be productive. And how wisely you use your time will have far more impact in your life and success than any amount of money will. Next one of my favorite ones is no balls, no babies. So it is a funny name, but honestly, all it's talking about is you got to take risk in order to get big reward. Okay, you can't sit there and be, content with just small little jumps. You have to make big leaps and try to really, make your name for yourself. Okay, a next one that I really like is everyone gets down, but it's how fast can you get back up. So Mark Cuban had a ton of failures in his life, and it wasn't about sitting down there and weeping and feeling sorry for yourself. It was about how fast you can get back up and try to fix whatever the problem was. So this is something really successful or really important that all entrepreneurs should try to have. And the last thing I'm going to cover, one of my personal favorites, is you only have to be right once. Entrepreneurship, that's all it takes. One right idea that hits, and boom, you've made it. So no idea is a crazy idea. Really go ahead and try to, try to reach for the stars and land amongst the moon or something like that. So the next thing I'm going to cover is it's okay to be a whiner. So this is kind of it's an odd concept, because whining currently has a negative connotation, but it shouldn't. Whining, it says here, is a first step to change. It's the moment you realize something is wrong and you start to take initiative for a change. If you don't whine, you're actually, you're a punching bag, according to Mark Cuban. So don't be a punching bag. It's okay to whine. It's okay to voice your displeasure as long as you have a good reason behind it. With the business world being so hostile and competitive, it's okay to be stubborn. You want things done your way, because if you're passionate and you think you're correct in the way you're doing your business, then who cares what other people are doing? Like, you have to get your way in order to shape your business the exact way you want it. I think he's really trying to erase the whole connotation of whining being negative. It's to a point it can be negative, but if you're doing it correctly and you're doing it for the right reasons, it shouldn't be such a bad thing to be called a whiner. It should be just you're passionate about what you like. You're passionate about your business and you really want to strive for success.